Grant, I'm excited for this one. I don't
Yeah.
think we have talked about cold calling and scripting much here, actually on the webinar much lately. So this will definitely be a fun topic. Everyone jumping in, let us know where you're from. And as we go over to Facebook as well, let us know in the comments where you're from. Grant, tell us where you're at.
Yeah, so Grant Kropfeld, I run the MI Sold team in Michigan here, Southeast. So we're in Detroit, and our office is located on the east side of Detroit here, northeast side, and we're in the works of expanding down to Florida, starting the Sunny State team down there, and we've been using zBuyer for probably going on 3 years now, I've had to say, and yeah, we've now transitioned to the whole team.
Yeah. Where in Florida are you guys going to?
So kind of all over, because I have family in Palm Beach. I lived there for 8 years. My business partner, Mark, has a place of his own in Orlando. And my fiance's family is over in Naples. And so I'm kind of all over the place, and we already have MLS and board registrations throughout the state there, so that we can cover a multitude of areas down there. So, but I'll be in the Palm Beach area personally coming later this year. So
very cool. And I know Florida, crazy different market, especially compared to like Detroit.
Yeah,
that's a big different scenery as well, though. I'm sure it'll be a lot nicer. Walks on the beach.
Yeah, it's kind of dreary out today here in Detroit, so
yeah,
it'll be nice down in Florida.
Everyone, my name is Jordan Weber. I'm the head of growth with zBuyer. I've got Grant here with me today. Kind of like I mentioned, we haven't done many topics or videos really talking about cold calling, opening up the call, prospecting, handling rebuttals. What does that initial scripting sound like? And Grant, you have shared over a handful of different videos into our mastermind group talking about what you do for cold calling, how you open it, what works, what doesn't. You've shared some live calling videos that you've done, and super good. So that's why I wanted to bring you on to dive into a little bit of what you found, what works, what doesn't work, what's kind of your go-to opening script, how much are you scripted and how much of it are you just kind of having a natural conversation, and really just kind of the overall psychology of that initial call, breaking through the phone, getting to the appointment. What does that look like for you? So I think the first thing we could jump into is one, these are cash offer leads. They're homeowners that are online saying they're interested in seeing a cash offer. They're also interested in, knowing the market value. So they're exploring options. And I'm curious, how much are you speaking to that? So initial call, Mr. Homeowner's on the phone. What are you saying to opening up that conversation?
Yeah, so you definitely have to understand that the lead or the prospect had put in for a cash offer. That was their initial intent. And what I've come to find is a lot of times, I think there's a little confusion on the cash offer side of this, where I think they just think that the cash offer is going to be pretty similar to retail a lot of times. And when you get them on the phone, you actually start talking about some of this stuff, you find out typically pretty quick if it's actually probably a cash offer type situation, or they just didn't understand really what they were necessarily trying to get out of it, because they just thought cash offers were pretty similar to retail, maybe at like a 10% discount or something. Right. So, it's just knowing the mindset of acknowledging that they're looking for a cash offer, or that's what they put in for, but being able to get through the call and the conversation to figure out, is this actually what I need to deliver to them, or is potentially a retail sale the route they need to go? That could be based on timelines. That could be based on, what their current situation is on the house condition, and just a couple different factors in that realm.
Yeah, for sure. In kind of what I'm gathering from what you're saying, that initial conversation is more of a educational conversation. Understanding first, what their situation is, where they're at, why are they needing to sell, And then the other piece is also potentially going into what are the pros and cons, what's the difference, and what's the reality of a cash offer compared to listing the home.
Yeah. So the way I like to look at it is, I'll give you kind of my mile high view of how I go into prospecting, especially these type of leads. The old saying is people like to do business with people that they know, like, and trust, right? That's the traditional thought process behind how people do business. And I 100% believe that couldn't be further from the truth. People do not do business with the people that they know, like, and trust on any level, because you might know a family member and like them a lot, but you may not trust them if you know that they're what they do for, let's say they're a mechanic, but you know that they do really bad work. You're probably not going to take your car there if they do really bad work, right? Because you don't trust them to do that work on your car. So I flipped that. And my only goal whenever I'm talking to somebody is to go through trust, like, then know, right? Because I don't need to know you, and I don't even need to like you to trust that you can do the job I would hire you to do. I don't need to like you if you're a really good surgeon and can fix my shoulder. I don't need to even know you or who you are. But if I go on Google and you've got 5,000 5-star reviews, I can probably start to trust you're the best around.
Absolutely.
And whenever I go into calls, I'm not looking to get them to like me.
Right.
Okay? My main thing is I'm trying to establish a sense of credibility and a sense of expertise so that they can start to build the trust in me and what I'm saying, to the point where they would trust me to help them in this process of selling their home. Too often, I think we go into these conversations and we're afraid to say certain things or ask certain questions or really be candid with the people we're on the phone with, in a fear that they're not going to like us or want to know us. And it needs to be the opposite. It's got to be, I need to establish my expertise so that I can gain the trust out of this person that doesn't even know who I am. I got to make sure that they can trust me enough to ask me to come over, or to be able to agree to let me come over to their home and actually invite me in. There has to be a certain level of trust there established. So
Absolutely.
Again, not necessarily liking me.
Yeah. So if we could, what does that sound like on a conversation? If, hey, I'm a homeowner, you just got my lead, and you're trying to build trust, build credibility, validity that, yes, you are the agent that can do this, that can get them what they're asking for. What are some things you're saying or some statements you're using to, build that trust?
Yeah. So I'm really trying to deliver honesty and just, the reality of it. And I'm not going to skirt around the bush. So when I get on the phone, right off the bat, it's the confidence. Okay. It truly is confidence. And you have to understand that this person may hang up on you. They may say no, and it's fine. You can call them back in a week, in a month.
Absolutely.
They're probably not going to remember you even called them. So if you're not calling with any ill intent, why do you have a problem picking up that phone and being confident about what you're saying? They filled out this lead, and I never let people get off the hook when they say, oh, I never did that, or that was a mistake. So you mistakenly went through multiple steps filling out your information and things about your house. That was a mistake. So that's how I kind of approach it is, let's be real here. I understand how this is going. So I just confidently get on the phone and I'll say, hey, is this Jordan? Hey, Jordan, yeah. Grant Kropfeld here with the MI Sold team. Hey, I got your cash offer request, and I just want to touch base with you real quick. I have a couple questions to get through, and I can get that over to you. Is now a bad time? I just need 2 minutes of your time. We'll get that squared away. So I start with that initial call because I have two different avenues I go. If it's a lead that I've been trying to get a hold of for a while, it's a different intro. And then if I have a lead that just came in, this is the intro that I'm going after. But it's that confidence that no matter what the reaction is, if they're like, oh yeah, no, I didn't mean to do that, then I'll be like, oh, wait, to get the cash offer? Like I'll start acting confused because I am confused. Like why you did not put in this thing by accident. Like you didn't just, your
Right.
finger didn't slip and hit enter and you entered all this information. So, you know, I will press that. I'll press that situation in that what they just said to get some real clarity, and I'll let them know it's fine. Like, hey, listen, like, you know, this is zero obligation here. You know, I'm just calling because you'd filled this out and it looked like you wanted to know what a cash offer would look like. Is that what you were looking for? Or were you looking to see what the value of your house was? And now I'm just giving them the door to answer real, like, just be real with me. Like, what was it? Were you just looking to see what the value was? That's fine if it is, you know.
It's still an answer you can work with. It's still another way you can drive the conversation. It opens up more doors, rather than just getting stuck on the, I didn't fill it out and, oh, well, you know, sorry, Grant, for calling. Have a great day. And just that conversation.
Yeah. Too often people just, that's where they click and hang up. And I think that's really where the mindset has to shift for everybody. And the mindset needs to be, even if this person just wanted to know the value of their home and they said, I want to sell, or, you know, we have no plans of selling for the next 10 years.
Right.
Again, most people will just go, okay, I'm sorry, and then click and hang up. Okay. Every person I talk to is money. Okay. You don't know if their situation changes in 3 months, 6 months, a year. Okay. Something tragic can happen. Some big life change can happen. You don't know what situations where if you call back in 6 months that they go, oh, actually, you know, we're getting divorced and we're actually going to have to sell the home. You don't know what happens between now and 6 months from now. Also, every 6 months or every 3 months, whenever you follow up with them, you don't know if a family member of theirs needs to buy or sell now, because they might not have 6 months ago. So I don't look at this as necessarily if it's instant and it happens, and that's great. But I paid for this lead and I paid to be able to talk to somebody that had shown interest in buying or selling, or at least knowing their market value. And now it's up to me to make sure that I can, at least at the worst case, become the person that they turn to when they do have real estate needs, or somebody they know has real estate needs. I need to position myself as the person that they can trust going into the future, even if they don't need it now. Right. So when I change my mindset to that, I have no problem pushing through into the questions that I need to get. And I'm not going to just let it slide by, oh, I wasn't interested.
Right.
Or, you know, I'm not interested in selling. That's probably one of the most typical ones I get is, oh, I'm not interested in selling. Hey, that's fine. Like most people I talk to that fill this out aren't, and that's completely fine. It sounds like you're just looking for the value of your home. Is that correct? And they'll be like, yeah, I just want to know what it was worth. That's totally cool. So tell me a little bit about your home, just so I can get a better idea of what we're working with and how I can come up with a better number, just to get you a closer number to what it's worth. Because that little thing is, you know, that stuff's garbage.
Right.
I'm just starting to lead into questions, right? And
we hear a lot, agents using us, we get a lot of this feedback that they'll call someone, they say, I'm not selling, you know, I wouldn't even sell my house for another 10 years. I'm not interested. I didn't fill anything out, the whole list. But the difference, and, you know, the feedback we hear from agents saying that our leads aren't working, they're not converting anything, and what you're doing is you're taking it, you know, with a grain of salt, and you're still driving the conversation. You're not saying, okay, we'll have a great day. You know, if you ever need anything, my name's Grant, give me a call. You're taking the opportunity where you have a homeowner on your phone right then and there to build trust and brand yourself as the agent that they need to go to whenever the time does come to sell. Even if it's not today or next month, if it's 5 years from now, you're making that initial connection. So 5 years from now, you're the person they're coming to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, I think, where most people miss the boat, because I look at this as the opportunity all the time to build my sphere. And what my sphere is, not people that I know, but people who know me. Right. And It's my responsibility to then create systems and processes around these people who aren't ready to convert right now, so that I'm always being the one that they think of when they think of real estate. And a really good book to read, if you guys haven't read it before, it's called the Like Switch. I'm blanking on the author's name, but it's written by an ex-FBI guy or CIA, maybe one of those two. And he talks about the science behind what gets people to like start to trust you and to like you. And there's a really good story in there about, he talks about somebody that they had as a prisoner, and they were trying to interrogate him. The guy just wouldn't talk. And so every day he went in there and just sat down, plopped up a newspaper, didn't say a word to him, and just read a newspaper for like an hour every single day. Same time, just showed up. And after a few weeks, the guy finally said something to him and said, like, why are you here? And he eventually was able to get that guy to break and give him the information that they needed. And he became comfortable with this person being around consistently.
Yeah.
And was able to trust him enough to start talking to him and eventually give him information. And that's similar to when this person says, like, I'm absolutely not selling right now. Fair enough. But I have an opportunity to place myself where I'm sitting in that room, reading my newspaper, and I'm keeping touches with them over and over and over again. It's like the rest of my CRM and the rest of my sphere, to the point where I am in their face and they know my name because I keep seeing it in their emails, and they keep getting phone calls every 6 months or 3 months, and they keep getting handwritten cards throughout the year, and they get notes or text messages on holidays and 4th of July and things like that. To the point where when I call 6 months later and I go, and I have my notes in my CRM from what we talked about last time, I go, hey, this is Realtor Grant Kropfeld. I know it's been a while since we've talked. I just had you on my list to follow up with you and see how everything's going. I know last time we talked about this, or you had this going on. How's everything been with you? Super casual, super simple. And then I always leave every conversation. I don't care who I'm talking to or what lead I'm talking to. I could be calling a FSBO, and somebody could be, no, we're not selling, and they're about ready to hang up. I go, hey, before I let you go, do you know anybody else that's been talking about buying or selling real estate that I could help? And I never let any conversation end without asking all the possible questions I can to see if there's any potential anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
So coming back to the beginning of it, you got to look at the conversation as whether they're selling right now or selling in 100 years. This is still money to be made. And I need to move through this conversation in a way that it seems like it's not going to pan out right now. I need to be their advisor and their agent in the future, and to be in touch with them, because they're a homeowner, right? Every homeowner is at some point either going to need real estate services themselves, or a friend or a family is going to need real estate services themselves.
Absolutely. And I think, everything you just said, it comes down to one thing: consistency, just being consistent with the leads. And through consistency, it's going to build trust. It's going to build value. If you're there delivering, like you said, handwritten cards, updates on the market, updates on their home's value. If you're consistently bringing value to them, there's going to be trust that in turn comes with it. And you are going to end up being the person that they fall back to when, life does change, when the market changes, when the kids move out or a new kid's born and they need a bigger home, a smaller home, whatever it is, you're going to be the person that they're going to.
Exactly.
One question.
Go ahead.
A question here. Can you provide scripts for us? And before we go to that, I want to ask another question. Whenever you're making these calls, do you have a full handwritten script in front of you, or do you have bullet points? Do you have your opening, and do you have the series of questions that you need to ask?
Yeah. So back here, you can't really see it, but this is my cold calling table, or I have a stand here, and my scripts are all taped up on the wall. I've got about 15 pages up there, and I don't necessarily, go need the scripts as much anymore. But there's times where I'm kind of tripping up or not in the zone at that moment. And I need that script to be able to kind of check myself and see where I'm at in the conversation or what question I could possibly move to next throughout this call. But I do have scripts. Yes. I do use scripts, and they get adjusted and they get changed just based on,
Time of
things
year,
that I try.
market. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's going on, and I'll find things that are better, and I'll try them out and add them in. But yes, I do have a script book that is being kind of revised right now and will be like launched and available. So when I get all that out, it has zBuyer specific scripts in there too, because we use the zBuyer leads. It's about a 50-page script book. I will send that out to you guys in the zBuyer Mastermind if you're in the zBuyer Mastermind. If you're not, get in the zBuyer Mastermind. But I will drop that in there probably within the next couple of weeks so that you guys can have access to that. It's got all of them FSBO expired, the whole 9 yards. I opened the playbook to all of it. So
very cool. Another question. We've had a couple things about this on Facebook. Are you using an ISA? Or people are talking about, are they using ISAs? What ISA service are you using? So to frame that to you, Grant, are you using an ISA service?
No, we're not. So I have a team of 11 agents here, 5 of which are like full-time active, and they go through, we all get the zBuyer leads. It gets sent through everybody. And I personally, because of the way I attack the calls, I don't think there's a level of being able to build them into your sphere in the future if you're using an ISA, because there's just not that connectivity of I'm talking to the person that I'm going to be talking to in the future, right? If your goal is just the immediate and you're really not concerned with the long term, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, but if you're not concerned with the long term, sure, an ISA can definitely kind of start to weed through and get you appointments set up. But for me, right, I want to be able to set the precedent that they can trust me and I'm the expert. And I start delivering that in the call. And then when I hit them with my infamous line, if you haven't heard the last video I posted, this is, if this needs to be somebody in your sphere, this line will knock it out of the park. I promise you. And it goes, hey, listen, I understand have no intention of selling right now. Let me ask you, hypothetically speaking, if you had to sell today, do you already have a real estate agent that you trust to sell your home? Let that sit, and they'll go, well, no, I don't have an agent. Okay, great. Most people don't. Let me ask you, is it okay that I just keep in touch with you from time to time throughout the year? I know life's crazy, things can change, but I'll reach out just every once in a while. We'll stay in touch. And if you ever need anything real estate wise, or somebody real estate wise, you'll at least have somebody that you can turn to. Fair enough. And they always go, yeah, that's fair. And then I lead that into setting them up on HomeBot, where I go, hey, so in really quick, I know you're looking to see at least what your home value is. I have the service completely free. It's, no obligation or anything like that, but it's an automated thing I can set you up on once a month on the 15th. I don't know why it works when I say on the 15th, but it'll be like once a month on the 15th. It'll just send an email out. It'll just give you an updated price based on where the market's shifting. And it'll always have my info at the bottom as well if you ever have any questions or need anything from that. And I was like, is that something you might be interested in just getting on the 15th once a month? And the response rate to that is crazy high. It's like, yeah, that's fine.
It would be,
what's a good email?
Yeah, it would be a rare situation, I would think, where a homeowner would say, no, I don't want a quick 2-minute read once a month on what the biggest investment I've made in my life is worth.
Yeah. And I think psychologically, the two pieces that is I've already gotten them to agree to let me potentially be their realtor and their advisor, because I asked, hypothetically, if you had to sell today, do you got anybody? No. Okay. Well, would you mind if I kept in touch so that if you ever needed anybody or somebody needs anybody, you have somebody here? And when they say yes, now it's like, okay, so do you want to know what your house is worth once a month? And because I drop like the specific day where I say on the 15th, I think that really solidifies that this is just once a month and they're only going to get bothered by this email once a month.
Right.
But HomeBot's a great system where it keeps tabs on what they're doing, what they're clicking on, how long they're open, how long much they've read. And that way you can follow back up with them when you see them starting to be active on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows, what we call internally clickers, who's clicking on my emails, who's engaging with my content. And instead of potentially looking at a database of thousands of people and thinking, can I call every person in here to see if they're interested? You now have a list of maybe, a few hundred people that have engaged with you recently. It just helps focus the efforts, show you where your attention should be. So really interesting, though. We have talked with a lot of people, brought a lot of agents, team leaders on here. Some people swear by having an ISA is what has grown their business. But then there's other people as well. Barry Jenkins in Virginia doesn't use an ISA. All of his agents make their own calls, and they use data and, the tech stack they've built out to show them who should they be calling on a daily basis. So very different opinions and viewpoints. But I'd say for you certainly have a system that's worked. You've put together scripts that are guiding you through the calls. What are some objections, though, that you say you personally have a hard time overcoming, or with our leads in particular, is there any objections that just really dead the call that you can't go anywhere with?
Really there's a difference between objections and, circumstances or things that really can't be overcome. Right. I get calls or, I'll get on the call and it's like the wife and she's like, oh, my husband's crazy. Like he, shouldn't be on those websites, putting in all this information. Like we're not selling. And, sometimes they'll hang up. But again, if I can keep them on that phone, I just always think I got a shot, at least add them into my sphere. But I will say that there is not an objection that I really run into that's like one that I can't at least turn into a future potential opportunity. And that's the way I look at it is okay, it may not happen right now, but in the future it will. But in terms of trying to get to the appointment, if I think that there's an opportunity for an appointment today, the biggest objection I think just really comes down to like, I'm not interested in selling. And I acknowledge that because that's just a knee-jerk reaction for most people to salespeople or to getting a cold call is just, nope, not interested.
Right.
Right. And I'm acknowledging it. Right. I'm like, hey, I get it. I lump them into a group of other people similar to them, right? Hey, most people I talk to, same thing. Like they're not interested in selling right now. Totally fine. And then I'll just kind of start to entertain some ideas, hypotheticals to, if they were to sell today, I'd be like, if you had to sell, or let's say you got a number that you would be happy with in terms of selling, because everybody's got a number, where would you stay local? Where would you be moving to? My whole goal with just continue to ask questions and push the conversation is, let me try to find something here. Let me try to find a hole or a potential motivation, because here's the real reality of it. Okay, we're selling them a service, and you can't sell somebody something to somebody that they don't want, right? I can't sell you the iPhone if you want the Android, because you just don't want the iPhone. But I know that these people are homeowners and that they've raised their hand, most of them probably, to think about or had some thoughts on selling. Most people don't really want to know the value of their home until they have some thought of, what if we sold this? So I go into them saying, I don't want to sell, with a grain of salt. What most people give on a knee-jerk reaction is their perception of how this is going to play out. And what I mean by that is they think it's difficult, they can't do it, and it's not for them. And it's our job as the expert and as a salesperson to make it easy, make it seem easy, and show them it's easy, or tell them it's easy. They can do it, and that it is for them, that it will work out in their benefit. So I'm really trying to lay the groundwork, like, hey, listen, I know you're not looking to sell right now. I'm curious, if you did sell, had to move, Would you be staying local? What's the idea here? Get them into a thought process of actually, we, probably move down to Florida. Really, Florida, what would end up taking you down there? Why would you go to Florida?
Right.
I'm just looking for that button, right? I'm looking for that button that opens the door to them gaining the curiosity enough for me to go, hey, listen, would it be so crazy of an idea that if you had me out for 15 minutes, you showed me your house, I gave you what I think a price would be for it, if I were to give you either cash offer today or at least tell you what it'll sell for on the market, would you not want to, at least know what your options are? And if the number makes sense, the number makes sense, right? But you don't have to do anything that doesn't make sense to you. And that gets me to a point where they got to give me yes or no.
Right.
And this is where the real magic happens of getting the deal closed or an appointment set. Because if they go, no, I'm not interested, I'm going to rehash this, because one no, I statistically, like myself and my team have a spreadsheet that's been created for us that tracks all of our numbers, from like how many dials we make, how many conversations we have, how many no's we get.
Every no gets you one closer to the yes.
Yeah. And that can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a call, right? Every time I ask for the appointment or ask for something and they say no or give an objection back to it, that's another tick on the box of like, I might get 5 no's in a call, but I know statistically that it's every 8.5 no's to get a yes. So why not just stack them in the call?
Right.
And so I start pushing that, premise and be like, so you're telling me if you got a fantastic offer on your home, like a number that you wouldn't even want to look at it. And I'm waiting for it again. A lot of times they go, well, what's that number? And now the door's open.
Right.
Now the door's open. This is where your opportunity is. Okay. Don't give into, like, I think early on, a lot of people are like shocked, like, wait, what? And they kind of trip up. It's the confidence. You got to just deliver, like, awesome. Well, let me come up with that number. Give me a couple of details about the house, so I get a picture of what I'm walking into. And then I have some time tomorrow at 4, or I'll be in the area on Friday between 5 and 6. Which one do you want me to come out, or what time works better for you for me to stop out for just 15 minutes? Now I've like pinned them because they told me, what's that number? Okay, well, I'm going to come out and we're going to figure out that number. I just got to see the home. I have to have boots on the ground, and I just don't let them off the hook. I think that's too big of a deal. Is people get on the phone to get an objection, whatever, they let them off the hook.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not, you have what they need. If they want to sell, you have what they need, is the resources, the knowledge, and the help to get them to the closing table and to get them sold, not to the next step or whatever in their life. So it's really just being able to find that button, because if they want to sell, like, it's just cake. All right, have me out 15 minutes. I'll get you a number. Like, sometimes you run across those and it's just cake. But the ones that are like the knee jerks, you got to start discovering, where's their motivation? Like, what enticed them to even look at this to begin with, and figure out what that is. And let's just get that meeting, that 15-minute meeting. Let me get in front of them and start really stirring up that what if for them.
Yeah. So one thing, and we, talk about this internally, for every thing that your prospect will tell you, there's 10 more things they're not saying. So whenever you start to get answers from them, you're on the right track, but you've got to continue going, which is what you just spoke to, getting to the 8.5 no's in one call, and getting to that yes, finding out what the yes is. And I think what you're doing there is you're opening up these, thoughts that they're having in their head, and these possibilities, these scenarios that they thought about. And, they might have vocalized it, might have talked with their partner, but there was some type of internal dialogue that happened that led to them saying, hey, here's an ad about a cash offer, maybe fast, easy way to sell our house, or just know what it's worth. something led them to there. So you're just finding out what question is it that opens up that same curiosity that got them to fill out the lead form in the beginning.
Yeah. So 2 points on this. It's very similar to what the lead forms and how that advertising works, which is they're being sold on getting that cash offer. Okay.
Right.
So they're being sold on receiving that. And if they really want it and they're sold enough on getting it, it doesn't matter if there's 2 questions, 10 questions, or 20 questions. Typically they're going to go through the process to get there. A good analogy that we had in our team meeting earlier was talking about this exact scenario. And we always want to sell them on the result, on what they're going to get. Okay. One of our lenders we were talking with, and he said he remembers when he was a kid and he wanted this big Lego Star Wars ship, and he ended up getting it for Christmas, but it was like 5,000 pieces. And he's like, and I opened up the book and it just seemed like endless. Right. But think about it. He got sold on that because I'm sure he saw some commercials of some kids playing with this big old Lego ship. But if those commercials were kids putting the pieces together and going through the book of the steps that takes to get that ship, guess what? Nobody's going to be sold on it, because we all know intrinsically there's work to be done in the process.
Right.
But we don't really want to talk about it. We want to be excited about the result. And so when we're selling or we're talking to them, we're delivering this conversation, I'm looking to create anticipation, because anticipation creates motivation. Where if I start selling them what they're going to get, or the potential of what they're going to get, where they can envision being there or seeing that result, I can start to motivate them to take the next moves towards that result. However, if I sit in the process, or I linger too long, or try to explain into depth what needs to happen in order to get there, I start creating anxiety. And anxiety is going to demotivate them, and it's going to draw them away from wanting to make that decision, because they know that selling a house is not just like, here's my paperwork, hand me the cash.
Right.
That's not how it goes. There's a process. Every person understands that. We just don't want to bring that to light, because it's just going to create undue anxiety in the person you're talking to. We want to find out what that end goal can be and start delivering that, promise of that end goal, and just chipping away at them through what are they motivated, what do they want? And let me show them how I can deliver that to them, that it's easy, that they can do it, and it's going to work for them. And that's how I sell the end goal. I really avoid any part of the process with them, and just make it sound completely easy. No big deal, no obligation. Don't worry about it. It's fine. In that kind of thought process and tone. And I just when I find out like they'd want to move to Florida. Awesome. What's the number that's got to get you to Florida? They tell me, cool. All right. So I have some time tomorrow, 4:00, or Friday at 5. I'll swing by. Which one works better for you? It's just 15 minutes, super easy, quick. Show me the house. I'll be able to get you a number. And obviously, if it makes sense, it makes sense. We'll talk more. If the number's not right, it's not right. And it's no big deal. Like, I'm in the area anyways. I'm making it easy, right? I'm showing them that they can do it, and it's for them.
Right.
So I'm just selling that. I'm selling that vacation, not the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Talked about a lot, Grant. It's a lot of things. Really quick. I'm excited for that script book that you have coming out. And I know you've got a bunch of other things that you're working on too. Is that anything you can share yet, or do you want to wait a little bit further down the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the phases of about to be rolled out here.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of people over the years ask me like about this information, about different things I talk about. And I can't remember his name. I'm really bad with names. The author of it's like 48 Days to the Work You Love or something like that. Book from back in the early 2000s. And now he does courses, like he just builds online courses and stuff. And he said, if he gets asked a question more than once by more than one person, he knows he needs to make a course about it. And I started thinking, I'm like, I get asked questions, the same question over and over and over again by tons of different people. Instead of answering it a bunch of times, let me just create videos and the information to be available for the people that ask me this question. In that whole sphere and roundabout, I decided to make a course coaching business called Better Agent. And there's going to be a community as well. And this is basically where I'm going to take everything I've got, deliver it out to everybody. There's going to be, just tons of free content. There's going to be YouTube videos. The community is going to be open to anybody and everybody. And it's really just a place where I want people to work and collaborate with each other to be better agents, because that's the goal at the end of the day, right? When we really think about it, and the God honest truth is, even when we're working with zBuyers and making these calls, the level of your success and the level of money that you make is always going to meet you where you're at. Okay?
Absolutely.
Why do 80 or 90% of everybody that wins the lottery go broke in 5 years? Well, they weren't the person that could earn that kind of money and manage that kind of money. So they're spending it as if they were the person that makes $50,000 a year.
Right.
Not the opposite. So money's going to meet you where you're at, whether you're here and the money's up here, it's going to come back down to you. But if you're up here, the money's eventually going to come up to you. So it's really getting those skills, getting it's really skills at the end of the day, because that's what it is. You're learning a bunch of skills to be able to be a better agent, to be a better salesperson, to be better. And the motto is be better, do better, have better. And that's really the piece behind it. So yes, we're creating a community. This is all like the script book. Everything's being rolled out with this. I've got customized agent planner, customized agent call tracker, like numbers tracker,
everything.
It's been in the making for about the past 6 months, and it's finally like in the process of getting all the videos recorded and edited and getting pumped out here. So within the next month, or by the end of the month is my goal to have the first handful of courses out, as well as the all the availability of the content and the scripts and everything out for you guys. So there'll be websites and stuff. And my plan is to also be able to create a specific course on just like how to deal with cash buyer, like zBuyer type leads, and the processes that I go through and how I set up literally down to the detail. Like I'll just share my screen and show within this, like how I set up follow-up systems, the type of things I do with that, the scripts, how I work it, live calls, like that's my envisionment of one of the courses. There'll be a host of courses and all that, but I want to just be a kind of an open, collaborative community that works with all agents and as many companies that can improve agents and their success.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited to see that. And I love that motto, better agent. It's so simple, but in reality, it's what it is, working to become a better agent.
Yep. It was, I don't know why, it just popped in my head one day randomly. And I was like, well, I guess I have to create a whole company based on this. So
that's awesome. I'm excited to see that, and excited to see what's going to come out of it, and start to see you share, some of that over to the Facebook group, building your own community of people that, have that same mindset of just being better. It's simple, but I think everyone could be better at something. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, is I know that there's certain people that are way better at certain things than other people, and myself included. Like there's things that people are just way better at than me. And I want to know from them. Like I want to learn from them, because, if I list out all my different avenues of skills that I have, sure, I got some that are 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s. And then I got some that are like 0s, 1s, and 2s. And I want to go be a better agent. So I'm going to go look for those people that have those 7, 8, 9, 10 level skills. And what can I take from them on that? Because that's, you can see my bookshelf behind me here. I'm always reading. I'm always learning. I really don't listen to music anymore. I don't have a TV in my house anymore. I don't have like streaming services, nothing. It's
learn, do better, be better, have better. Like, I have a need for a speed to wealth, and that's only going to come through, making sure that that wealth meets me where I'm at, and I got to be at that higher level. So I'm just aggressively committing to being better.
Hats off to you, man. That's awesome. I'm
So,
excited. Thank you
thanks.
for
Yeah.
coming on here today. I know we talked about a lot, kind of jumped to a lot, different topics all around cold calling, building those relationships. The takeaways that I got from here, and jump in if you think I miss anything. Another one is confidence. You spoke to that quite a bit, being confident, having confidence in yourself, but then also, carrying over that confidence into the phone call. It's one thing to be confident and not sound confident. So making sure confidence is in all aspects of what you're doing when you're reaching out to those homeowners. The other thing I've found was consistency, being consistent in everything you do. The interrogator with the newspaper, just showing up, being consistent, bringing value. And then on top of that, I really think it's a combination of both of those things, consistency and value, but understanding the value in a lead that is, 5 years out, a lead that says, I'm not interested, I'm not selling, still knowing the value, and you're building your network, you're building your sphere, you're building your group of people that know who you are, and you understand the value in it. And I would assume that it took some time. There was kind of an aha moment of, hey, this is valuable, even if they're not ready. Knowing that value, understanding that value, and then putting emphasis on it and what you're doing, and sacrificing your time, maybe an extra 15 minutes of a phone call to build that value, knowing that one day that value increases exponentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have an aha moment for sure. And it was that, like, why am I 5 years in the business and still like trying to burn and churn deals off of, FSBOs, expireds, like these right away zBuyers, and thinking back, like, how many people have I talked to in the last 4+ years that I just never talked to again? And I was like, what am I doing? Because if I truly had just kept in touch and kept a really solid database and systems to follow up and stay in touch and be that,
I'm sure a lot of those people have sold.
Oh, absolutely. I guarantee it. And I know they know people that have sold too. There's probably every single one of them, especially during 2020 and 2021, every single one of them knew at least one family member that bought or sold. And I was not that agent. And I want to create a pipeline that I don't have to keep trying to burn and churn. In like 2 years, 3 years, it's just, I've built up such a big sphere, and I'm just constantly following up with them, because I just log into my CRM now and it just gives me a list of, hey, here's who you're calling today. Cool. Click on them. Oh yeah, I talked to them 6 months, give them a quick call. Hey, and I just burn through that every day. And eventually I call them, hey, how's it going? And they go, oh, we're actually looking to move. Or, hey, actually my cousin is moving. Let me get you his number. And now I'm no longer having to spend as much time looking for the burn and churn
Right.
in my sphere, and the time that I've been stacking and consistently putting in over the years is just created me a system that's feeding me forever. Right. And that's what I had to learn was, I'm working too hard if I still have to make all of the calls, and I'm just leaving all these people that I saw as non-opportunities right now just because they weren't ready now, and didn't spend the time to create the systems where it made it easy for me to stay in front of them.
Awesome. Grant, again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And, I plan to give you guys a lot more content, a lot more of what I do. I don't hide anything. So if I got it, like, I'll tell it, I'll spill the beans, I'll talk to you guys, I'll give you everything I do. And I look forward to giving you guys more videos, and people have asked for more live calls and stuff like that. So I'll be, doing that more, and I'll even get some of my agents in here that are newer, that are going through the process themselves of working with zBuyers, and see if they'll get on and do some calls so you guys can kind of hear what they're working with and what they're struggling with and how they're overcoming some of the things through this as well.
For sure. Let's get that going. I'll get you set up in the mastermind so you can just go live in there whenever you want.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
whenever you sit down and make some calls and want to share over, you can do that. And I think we need to plan something else, another topic to get you back on here with. Because
Yeah, for sure. Like if people watching this, whatever, put some comments in there and, I can kind of deep dive on anything in particular, anything specific. Like if you want me to walk through scripts or show you my systems, like I said, I'll share my screen. I don't have any problem with giving you guys the nitty gritty behind the scenes stuff. I'm open to it all. So
awesome.
just looking
We'll
to
get together.
make
We'll
better
plan
agents.
out something. Yeah. We'll plan out something and definitely get you on here again and dive into maybe your systems or what you're doing. I know you recently switched CRMs, right?
Yeah, so we switched over from Follow Up Boss to KB Core. So it just worked better for what we had going on here. And so now we're running all our stuff through there. So it's working well.
Awesome. We've got a ton of agents using KB Core, so that would probably be a good one to talk about. Everyone for watching, though, thank you for jumping in. Like Grant said, let us know in the comments, what questions or what topics you want to see on here next. And as always, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.